You would not find this in the middle of the suburbs somewhere.
Would not find it. I'm from Teaneck. No way would anything near what they have here be allowed in suburban communities. And that's this injustice. It's evil, it's racist, it's evil.
Hey, it's Jordan. I am in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio, Tumwa, Iowa. Please support the only independent outlet on the ground covering what the corporate media covers up.
Hey, it's Ashley with Status Coup. John Farina and I are on the ground in Newark, New Jersey. We are at the Delaney Hall, the ICE Immigration Detention Center, where Mayor of Newark, Baraka, was arrested last Friday.
You cannot push it. You cannot Congress. You can't push members of Congress.
This is peaceful. You are fascists.
Get over her.
You are fascists. This is peaceful.
Protests are scheduled throughout this week in opposition to ICE and its disappearing of immigrants and attempting to silence those exercising their right to free speech. Baraka says he and three other New Jersey representatives, Bonnie Watson-Coleman, Robert Menendez, and LaMonica McIver, were at the facility last week to conduct a congressional oversight visit, which under federal law they have the right to do. This led to, let's say, an altercation between ICE agents, protesters, who were also at the facility protesting. In February, the Trump administration agreed to a 15-year-long contract with GEO Group to convert Delaney Hall into a 1,000-bed immigration detention center to help President Trump meet his mass deportation goals. GEO Group estimates the 15-year-long contract will bring in $60 million in revenue per year. And this is all happening at the same time that Stephen Miller announced last week, so again last Friday, that the White House is considering suspending habeas corpus, the right to due process, the right to not be unlawfully detained or imprisoned.
Well, the Constitution is clear, and that, of course, is the supreme law of the land, that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion. So I would say that's an option we're actively looking at. Look, a lot of it depends on whether the courts do the right thing or not.
The pretense under which the administration is trying to pull this off is clearly nonsense, as we are not currently being invaded. Meanwhile, President Trump says that he doesn't know whether he believes in due process.
Your Secretary of State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree, Mr. President?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me.
There have been several high-profile detainments, deportations, and arrests by Homeland Security over the last few months. Mahmoud Khalil, the pro-Palestine activist and Columbia student, Rumeysa Ozturk, the Tufts graduate student who wrote a pro-Palestine op-ed, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was wrongfully sent to a notoriously dangerous prison in El Salvador, the Worcester, Massachusetts mother who was taken just last week that we reported on here at Status Coup. She was filmed trying to cling on to her infant child as ICE was trying to take her away. Her teenage daughter was also arrested by ICE. And there was TikTok influencer Eyes of Sav that we reported on yesterday, who was detained at the Miami airport. So John and I will be reporting on the ground from Newark on these protests, and Status Coup is on the ground where it matters, when it matters the most. So if you can, please do support us. You can support us by becoming a paid member for as little as $5 a month or 16 cents a day. You can do this at statuscoup.com/join. Thanks, and follow us today while we are on the ground reporting from Newark at Delaney Hall. So I am talking to Paula. We are again outside of Delaney Hall, the now what is becoming an infamous ICE immigration detention center. So Paula, why are you out here today?
We have to shut this place down. We have to stop the deportations. We have a constitution. There's something called due process, and that's what we want. We want to protect our democracy. And if people around the country don't stop it here and where they live, we're going to go deeper into the fascism that is now really descended on our country. We have to be speaking out. We have to be standing up and protesting.
And it's important to note that, we're having this conversation at a time where Stephen Miller has said that the White House is considering suspending habeas corpus, which is the right to due process, to not be unlawfully imprisoned. President Trump has said he doesn't know if he believes in due process for everyone. He doesn't know. And again, so it's important to know that we're having this conversation where this right is actually being, it is really under attack.
And it's extremely terrifying. When they were going after Mayor Baraka the other night, I was right there. It felt like the Gestapo had descended on us. It was terrifying. And a lot of us, I tell you, a lot of us had tears in our eyes, not just because we were scared, because we were scared, but we were scared for our democracy, really terrified for our democracy. I mean, I taught little kids for 44 years in New York City, and I taught them. We worked to get, we advocated, we fought to get, law passed to ban pesticides. I taught them to stand up for, against things that are wrong, and to find ways to, to stand up for what's right. And it's horrifying to see what's going on here.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry, I had a question that I was going to ask you. It slipped out of my mind because you've said so many good things. So I guess I will ask, we were talking about this facility in particular and the area that this facility is in. You said that you are an environmental activist. I mean, this is clearly a sacrifice zone, this area. So if you could talk a little bit about what makes this a sacrifice zone right here, what we are smelling in the air as we are on the ground here in Newark.
Yeah, so this is known, the Ironbound community is known as the sacrifice zone. There are 3 gas plants, frack gas power plants here. The Passaic Valley Sewerage Commission wants to build a 4th one. A 4th one. Not in my town, not in your town, but in the Ironbound, because that's where they put these frack gas and other polluting facilities. That's where they think they can get away with doing it. And they keep doing it, and they will keep doing it. So this area, it just stinks so badly today, particularly badly today. There's a fat rendering place right nearby. If you look, there are trucks coming from Port Newark, coming and going to and from Port Newark. The planes, every minute there's a plane coming from Liberty Airport, unless it's shut down because of what Trump's doing. But
because of all the other things that are happening.
there are warehouses here. We do truck counts. We've done them with the Ironbound Community Corporation, where we literally stand on corners. We're assigned to different corners and count the number of these huge trucks, medium-sized trucks. No community. Can you imagine a suburban community having this? We don't allow these vehicles except if they're delivering to a supermarket, This is all day, every day. And the asthma rate is so high. So, like, for example, this PVSC gas plant they want to put in. They said, because we go to the meetings every single month for like 3.5 years. They're on Zoom. And we have one Thursday that we're very worried we're going to lose this fight. We're very worried. But they said, PVSC said to us, it's going to be negligible pollution. Negligible. So, supposing it's negligible, we had a press conference with 136 healthcare providers and scientists. They had a sign-on letter. And what they pointed out that it's not the pollution from one facility that's the problem, or the pollution from one truck or one airplane. It's the combined pollution which is the problem. And putting them all together, it's deadly. It's deadly. High asthma rate, cancers, all the stillbirths, miscarriages, learning disabilities in Newark. And so, we have to stop it.
And it's all of these things, as you're saying, taken in its totality, that make it a sacrifice zone. It's not one facility, though I would argue against the idea that, there can be negligible pollution anywhere. That's not really a thing, but it's the fact that you have a fat rendering facility, you have a recycling plant, you have all of these different things here.
Sewage treatment. All the shit, all the feces from many dozens and dozens of cities comes here to the Ironbound.
And as you said, it's not a coincidence that this is in a community that houses some of our most vulnerable populations. You would not find this in the middle of the suburbs somewhere.
Would not find it. I'm from Teaneck. No way would anything near what they have here be allowed in suburban communities. And that's this injustice. It's evil, it's racist, it's evil. And here's the thing, Governor Murphy has been the target of our fight around this because he said, I believe in environmental justice. He signed the environmental justice law, which is a pretty decent law. People fought so hard to get this law. That has some loopholes in it, unfortunately. Oh, I care, and he does his photo ops with the people in the community. And here we are having to fight with him. He could stop this. We fought to stop the New Jersey Transit gas plant. He was the one we aimed our campaign against. We won that fight. It was hard. There were marches, there were demonstrations, there were rallies. We went to monthly meetings of the transit board. He was the one who held it back. But finally, we forced him to stop it. Same thing with one in North Bergen, another environmental justice community, the Meadowlands gas plant, frack gas power plant. He was our target on that one too, because he could have stopped it in a split second. We marched with high school students, with people in the community. It was over a year of fighting non-stop. We bird dogged him. We showed up where there were ribbon cuttings and he's giving speeches and all. And we called him out. But we're very worried about this PVSC gas plant, and I hope that you can help us with some coverage. It's on Zoom on Thursday. And we're worried because if they don't need a fourth gas plant here. The thing is that PSE&G hardened the grid. They improved it. It's not like during Sandy when there was flooding in this area. They improved the grid substantially. And PVSC has also added solar and battery storage. There are alternatives. I guess they want to be kind of like the Trump folks. Yeah. Well, we're going to hold them accountable. It will be their legacy. Unfortunately, they don't care about that. But we're just going to keep on fighting it. And if they approve it, we will stop it. We will stop it.
And there's a reason that we're talking about this. Outside of Delaney Hall, the Immigration Detention Center, we've touched on this already, but before we started talking on camera, you had also said, as an environmental activist, it's important to you that we show up to each other's fights. And this is clearly a battle which has other intersections, and nothing is happening in a silo. All of these things that are occurring right now in our country are all interconnected in all the ways.
Yeah, I mean, Newark itself is a very, very diverse community. It's an very big immigrant population. And, those of us who are doing environmental work, I'm so happy, relieved that there are people, you've interviewed some of them, who are leading this fight around the detention center, around immigration issues, because we in the environmental movement can be here, and we've been here all the last few weeks and even before that to try to stop this. So we work together. That's why we're trying to get people who are here to come online on Thursday at noon. And people who hear this can go to Passaic Valley Sewerage Commission. If you look under the calendar, you get the Zoom link for it, 12 noon, and we need people to speak out.
And before I let you go, because it's starting to rain, I don't want you to get soaked. I wanted to return to something you had said previously. So I know that there's been a big group, a core group, rather, of you who have been out here protesting the Delaney Hall, the detention facility, since February. And you said that you were here on Friday when Baraka was arrested. Can you talk a little bit about what happened? Because there seems to be a lot of discrepancy as far as the story.
Because we were over in that area. I was right at the gate. the Congress members went in. They wanted to do a tour. They were forced to wait. And at one point, they let Ras Baraka in to the gate, not the building, the gate. I was standing like right there, and I heard them say to him, the police, the GO or ICE, whoever they are, you're trespassing.
So the mayor of Newark was trespassing when he and 3 other representatives were trying to conduct an oversight visit, which they have the right to do.
They were inside. The Congress members were inside the building or in that back area. The mayor, the guards let the mayor in this gate over here. He went in and they said, you're trespassing. They let him in. They set him up. So then he said, I'm leaving. He went out. And then they came in a formation that felt like the Gestapo, like those movies about the Gestapo, about Nazis and all. That's what it looked like. And they surrounded him and the members of Congress who were out there at that time. It was terrifying. I was videoing and I was screaming at the same time. And a number of us women had tears. I looked and we had tears rolling down our face because, like, we were scared. We were physically scared, but we were scared for the mayor and the Congress members. But we were scared. I'm sure we would all agree. We were scared for our democracy. It was terrifying.
And just to kind of like recap your account of what you saw here on Friday, the Mayor Baraka was trying to gain entry to conduct an oversight visit. He was let into the gate. So behind the gate that you can see behind me of Delaney Hall, there's a gate in front of Delaney Hall. So he was let into the gate. As soon as he got past the gate, the ICE agent said that he is trespassing. So then he tried to exit. He exited, and then, as you said, these sort of Gestapo surrounded him. And I presume that that's when the kind of altercation that we all saw on video happened.
Yeah, that's what happened. Let me tell you, let's go back a little bit. We were here, people were here all week, 6:30 in the morning. So I was here each day. 4 of those days, we saw Mayor Baraka come here with the fire inspectors, whatever inspectors, to make sure that they could get in to inspect. Because there's a court case right now, because they don't have the city says that they don't have the proper certificate of occupancy, they don't have their violations, and the inspectors, in any place you would go in Newark or any of our cities, you have to have an inspection, you have to have a certificate of occupancy. That's the law. These folks seem to think that they're above the law, and that's how the president has been. We're above the law, we don't need to follow the law. And so they were coming here, and the mayor was here to make sure that his people, the people could get in and do the proper inspections. And they didn't want that. And it's interesting though, watching the news and reading the news about it and hearing the lies about what happened. I witnessed it, others of us witnesses. We talked about what we saw. And then they lie, the Congress people were this and that.
And, when we got here earlier, you and I had talked a little bit, and you said Fox News was out here and that you were not interested in speaking with Fox News. Can you tell us why you were not interested in talking to Fox News about any of this, given your experiences that you just outlined, especially?
Well, it's interesting because the Trump administration, one after the other, people are coming from Fox News to work for him. Yeah, these are the same characters, and they spread lies, and it's a horrible thing. I know people who watch only Fox News and things like Fox News, and they take in these lies, and they're trying to shape public opinion, but they're lying. It's just a lot of lies. I don't have enough respect for them to, to trust that they would not distort what I'm saying.
I think that is perfectly fair.
I don't want anything turned around,
Well, I think we at Status Coup would agree with you. And again, this is a protest in front of Delaney Hall after a kind of major national event took place last week. And there's Fox News had their van parked, and it seems like from what I heard from other people that maybe they had express permission to be here or something to that effect.
didn't get permission to park across the street in a select spot. No.
No, we had no select spot. We pulled up and we found a spot. we made one for ourselves, just like everybody else out here. And again, I don't really see the corporate media here right now covering this, trying to get the perspective of the people who are on the ground, who have been on the ground, who saw what happened last week, who have been out here this whole time.
Yeah, so it's interesting. That's a truck driver who telling us go home, get a life. And, this is nothing new. We've had a peace vigil in our town since 2005, every single Wednesday in Teaneck. And, you hear people sometimes cursing or, during the Iraq War, they'd curse at us and call us cowards and unpatriotic and all, until they realized that the war was based on lies. And until a lot of U.S. soldiers, Marines were killed in the war. And then we saw public opinion change, where these same truck drivers were not cursing at us anymore. So, if you protest long enough, you see that some of the lies that are happening around this the truth will come out. And that's our job and your job, right, to help get the truth out and get people in the streets protesting, in the streets, in the courts.